I can't find a seconder usually when I propose this, but I don't care. I don't need a seconder. My own opinion is enough for me, and I claim the right to have it defended against any consensus, any majority, anywhere, any place, any time. And anyone who disagrees with this can pick a number, get online, and kiss my ass.
A representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed are greater than the legal services provided by other lawyers. You found the Backstory Podcast, number 94. I'm Harry Steele. I have Mr. Paul Rip with the Rip Report in studio today. How are you, Mr. Rip?
I am here.
And Mr. Russian, you hanging in out there, surviving the COVID?
Yep. Hobbling around and staying home again.
All right, so we're going to jump right into it this time. We got a lot to cover. The transmission of the Delta variant seems like this chart's absolutely true. We have some hot spots by county. This is a map put together by the Alabama Political Reporter, and I advise you to go check them out. You'll see Mobile County is the epicenter, and these are the new cases this week, 1381 for Baldwin County.
Woo.
And you know, and I know a bunch of people who are sick at home who are just self-quarantining that aren't counted in that because they didn't go get a test. Oh, how the times have changed, Mr. Rip.
Right.
Do you remember about a year and a half ago you filed a lawsuit against the sheriff? He told everybody to come on down with the plague for spring break.
Right. Didn't have to worry about masks or anything like that, huh?
And now he's got a breakthrough case of COVID Delta variant.
Well, I wish him the best on that. I don't want anybody to have that, but he should have listened a long time ago.
Mobile area is the epicenter for COVID-19 outbreak in Alabama. Don't take it from me. Steve Marshall says businesses require employees to get COVID vaccines.
Well, that's what we need.
That must have been tough for him to eke out.
Right.
Local hospitals around max capacity.
I'd like to update that.
Okay.
I looked just now. There are no ICU beds available in Mobile County.
Wow.
Yep.
Well,
they are
let's
full.
Wake up, people.
The largest number of cases in a single day from the week starting July 24th and ending July 31st was 553 cases reported on July 27th, according to information acquired from the Mobile County Health Department. In Baldwin County, the Baldwin County School Superintendent Eddie Tyler has mandated masks for most students as well as teachers and visitors to start school. And this is coming from warning signs by Dale Leash in the Lagniappe newspaper. I've made the decision we're going to start back to school with masks being mandatory for all employees, visitors, and students second grade and higher while in our building or on our buses through September 10th. Mobile County has had a total of 274,000 vaccine doses administered. This accounts for a countywide vaccination rate of 31%. The state as a whole has a vaccination rate of 32%. Mayor Sandy Stimpson strongly encourages residents to get vaccinated following CDC guidelines and wearing masks indoors as numbers rise.
And the county and state health officials are aiming for a 70% herd immunity. We are way, way, way away from that.
Well, you can't get herd immunity when you get new variants every time.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the schools. I mean, I'm just scared to death for all these kids to go back to school. I think that's going to be it. I believe we're going to get hit hard.
Let me tell you about schools here in Texas. I have a 12-year-old son who is starting his first day of in-school learning in the middle school this year. There is no mandate for masks. There is no mandate for anything because the governor of the state of Texas has ordered that no schools can mandate anything regarding COVID. They can't mandate vaccinations. They can't mandate masks or anything like that. My son is going to go to school. He is going to go to school under MOP 1 COVID protocol, and he's going to be masked up every day. He's going to carry sanitizer, and he's going to be briefed daily, coming and going from school, about how to minimize his exposure. He's also vaccinated. I have to take my hat off to the Houston Independent School District, who this week is meeting and is going to mandate mask wearing for their students in defiance of the judge's order. The Houston Independent School District is one of the top 5 largest districts in the country. And when a lot of the press are asking them, you're going to do this in defiance of the governor's order, it may put you out of funding for the 2022 school year. And a representative of the Houston ISD School Board said, we'll hold bake sales if we have to protect our kids.
Hear, hear. Well, we have several businesses closed, and give you an update. Loxley cancels municipal court. Don't know when it's going to be rescheduled for. Go to townofloxley.org or phone them at 866-849-3906. You remember this lady? No update yet. Silver Hill, you can't go in there. Hey, your buddies at the Eastern Shore Art Center, at least somebody on their board's got a noodle, and they're going to postpone the First Friday Art Walk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So out of an abundance of caution. So that's not going to happen tonight, folks.
Well,
I want to go see that damn rhinoceros right there, though. That
well,
is pretty
you know,
cool.
That is a son of a gun, isn't it?
That's saying something for them to close First Friday, because they've tried to push it on, the art show and 2 or 3 other things. So glad to see that they're being cautious.
Have you heard, does the City of Fairhope have a vaccination policy for their city employees?
I do not know.
Good to know. So keeping on COVID.
Soon everybody will, I can tell you that.
35.4 million infected in the U.S. with 615,341 deaths.
It's strange when we hit that 600,000 mark how it slowed down, and now it looks like everything's fixing to accelerate again.
And this is information from Johns Hopkins. And, of course, we talked about Governor Meemaw blaming the unvaccinated folks, and Tim James, I couldn't figure out what was going on, but he's actually thinking about running against a very popular governor, pragmatic, if nothing else. She's being too damn lenient.
I would take her over James.
Okay, well, so here we get to the story of the line in the sand. And no one takes credit for this. It's a staff report. Baldwin mayor's at odds in bridge negotiations. So are you up on this, Paul?
This has been going on for years, yeah.
Tony Kennan met with DOT and is trying to work out a deal for a new bridge.
Right. Gulf Shores feels left out.
Right. So why don't you run with it?
Well, Paul, there's 2 articles. One article is Bridge Debate on Hot Topic on the Island, and that's by Melanie LaCroix. Orange Beach Mayor addresses public relations. She's with Gulf Coast Media. And I thought that was really a pretty good article. It talks about what Gulf Shore says and what Orange Beach says. And they accused Orange Beach of not coordinating with them and so on and so forth, when it looks like Mr. Kennan did do exactly like he said. They accused Orange Beach of having a monetary reason for going for it. And Mayor Kennan explained that the City of Orange Beach entered into an agreement in 2004 with the toll bridge company at the time to loan them $12 million. The funds were paid back over time.
Tim James Toll Bridge Company.
Right. The contract is now worth 30 cents per car over the toll bridge, totaling $1.5 million this year. According to Kennan, this is the first year that they've received the $1.5 million.
Now, he doesn't own the bridge anymore. He sold it to an Australian hedge fund,
right,
for twice what, I guess it was $70 million.
Right, and don't be surprised if it doesn't get sold again. The contract's good that the city has of Orange Beach till 2033, when the city will have the option to buy the bridge at 10 times the revenue or extend the contract through 2063, which is worth $70 million to the city of Orange Beach. So you can see, yeah, we are talking big money here. The funds Orange Beach receives from the toll bridge are placed in the general fund of Orange Beach and used to provide quality of life amenities, beach cleaning, parks, etc., said Kennan. And I don't know how many people in Gulf Shores have $70 million laying around, but $70 million is a lot of money to Orange Beach, and Kennan is going to try to push through the bridge, and Aldot's
Well,
involved.
if there's any gravy off of that toll bridge,
Yeah.
this is where it should be where it should be spent. Okay, so when they built the Foley Beach Express from Foley down to the James Bridge,
Right.
and on down to Canal Road, they did it as cheaply as possible. And they didn't build it to AASHTO standards. They built it to county road standards.
Mm-hmm.
So now that people are running off the side of the road all the damn time and reckon we're having to go back and fix a problem that was created by inside deals and greed. And if you think this new bridge isn't all about that,
This new bridge has got a lot to do with that.
just like the last bridge.
It has a lot to do with that, but unfortunately, with the amount of development which is being allowed to just go completely unreined throughout the whole county, they're going to need a bridge. I mean,
So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here.
All day, every day.
yep.
So did you see that Senator, this is a Josh Moon article, by the way, nonpartisan watchdog group claims Tuberville violated Senate ethics law by failing to disclose several stock trades. So you have to disclose these trades within a certain amount of time, and Tuberville just forgot about that $3.5 million he moved around.
Damn, just $3.5 million. I mean, I can see where that'd be easy to forget about.
Who knows?
There was a small part of me that kind of wanted to be the devil's advocate in this and chalk it up to what do you call it? Freshman stupidity.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got people on your staff that didn't know they were supposed to do this. But this guy's been dealing with these kind of regulations since he was a football coach, and so I don't believe I'm going to be able to give him a pass on this.
No, he absolutely knew.
So let's talk a little bit about ethics.
Ethics? What ethics? We talking about Alabama here?
Alabama
What
Ethics
ethics?
Commission.
I agree.
Done.
The Mabel Amos Scholarship Fund over in Conecuh County.
Which has a population of about, what was it, Harry, 12 or 14,000
12,000 people.
for the whole county.
And they're sitting on $12 million over there at the trust.
Right, and they pumped $60 to $80 million worth of oil out right from under Conecuh County, and nobody in the county knew about it. Here's my question. Who's paying any oil revenue or taxes, or how did the county come out? Did the county come out, getting anything off this oil?
So the oil and severance taxes are paid to the county and then reapportioned based on where it was collected.
Well, were they paid? Nobody
That's a good
seems to know
question.
what's going on.
I don't know. I hired the girl that's the county administrator up there now. I imagine she'll take my call.
Well, we hadn't heard too much back from them. Today's RIP report is Where is the Media? And it's a synopsis of all the articles that have been written. I sent this to quite a few people today, AL.com, to 4 or 5 different people, and even the local newspapers in the area down there. And we'll see if that brings anything to the attention of anybody, because no one so far is covering this but the RIP report and Lagniappe. And then in addition to that, just to bring the people, so check the RIP report today, ripreport.com, and you'll see what we sent out as kind of a news release. Then the other thing is, we did, Harry, get an answer back. I guess you could call it an answer on the writ of mandamus that we filed. And
they were telling us all the technical reasons why they couldn't reopen the case because of statute of limitations and all those things. They did not address the issue that Mr. Albritton is the director and did exactly the same thing. So why in the world would he find anybody guilty of it?
Right. It just completely ignored the whole, was titled under allegation. They just completely ignored it. So I guess now we've got to put our thinking caps on to...
We'll see. The judge I would imagine the judge is going to set it for a hearing.
Well, I hope you're right. That's what I want to see happen.
So, justice denied a coach killed on the day he was set to turn himself in for sexual allegation charges.
I saw that. That was a weird
So remember
story.
when I think it was Tuesday. I got a alert on my phone, like an Amber Alert thing, right?
Yeah.
And it said Cochran Causeway shut down for wreck with fatalities.
Right.
And I was like, I didn't ask for anybody to send me a damn alert to my phone. And so anyway, it turns out that it was this guy, and he turned into the path of a damn dump truck.
Oof.
So anyhow, of course, the superintendent had to say nice, as you know, the guy hadn't been convicted of anything. Our condolences, lost one of our teachers.
Are they saying it was suicide that
they
way?
don't. I mean, you can take it for what circumstantial.
Well,
what
I mean,
have you.
the dump truck driver, did he say
I don't
turned
know.
into him?
Unlike other media outlets, we're not going to call a spade until we've actually looked at the cards.
Right.
So let's
Right.
wait and see what the report is before we call it anything.
Right. We don't investigate ourselves like the sheriff's department.
So here's the who shot John of the allegations. The teacher's name was Coach Bullard, and this, a warrant had been issued for his arrest on Monday, claiming that he'd raped and had sexual misconduct with a student at the school.
At the school.
Yeah.
Mm.
So one of my pals is doing a benefit concert, or is supposed to. Don't know if that thing's going to go off or not, but wanted to tell you about it and encourage you to go if you're vaccinated, and they do it in a way that you can socially distance. So, back on corruption. Oh, my God, we can't get away from it. Mike Blakley, Alabama's longest-serving sheriff, a Democrat, by the way, seriously doubt this would have gone forward had he switched parties.
Oh, well, now he's a sheriff. We're talking about the director of ethics, and nothing's happening with him.
Oh, no.
So,
after weeks of testimony and dozens of witnesses, the jury in downtown Athens found Blakley guilty on one count of theft and one count of using his position for personal gain. Now, there were 12 counts in the indictment.
mm-hmm.
So that tells you what kind of a great job our Attorney General's office did. The theft charges was related to his campaign fund and dealings with Red Brick Consulting, while the personal gain charges are related to loans from a safe that held money belonging to inmates.
And this also had the involvement of Ethics Commission with Mr. Pluck.
Correct.
He was
the vice
involved.
president of the Ethics Commission was involved in his campaign.
Right. So, I mean, here the Ethics Commission's involved in this up there. That's why we're
Schwacked
number one.
by the Republican Party.
That's why we're number one in political corruption.
So it looked okay. So have you seen the saber rattling going on from our current state auditor, Mr. Ziegler?
Oh, yeah.
So he claims he's running for governor, and of course all the nut
well,
jobs that
he's
listen to talk
feeling it
radio
out.
call in, and everybody says, "Oh, I'd vote for him."
He's feeling it out.
He's feeling it out. So Rusty Glover might walk into that unopposed, but I doubt it. I got a feeling he's going to be running against Ziegler.
You got to watch
again.
feeling out things these days, too.
No kidding. So did you see this?
See what happened to Como.
I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I wanted to let you know what your sheriff's department's hard at work doing, throwing parents out of school board meetings. So remember how I told you the PJs are going to change, the extraterritorial planning jurisdictions, the little yellow area that you see outside of Bay Minette right there? Well, that's all gone. So unless you live in the solid yellow, you're now under the auspices of the sheriff's jurisdiction. And we have another little unintended consequence. Act removes Fairhope wetlands ordinance from outside city limits, which I'm sure was the purpose of this law in the first place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that this has been a case.
Is he buddies with Bronner?
With who?
Or Chris and Bronner, but the Taxman and Dr. Bronner down at the the Grand Hotel? Does he have an open ticket down there? What's the play here?
I don't know. But this is going to impact.
What's the Greek term I'm looking for? Latin term? Cui bono? Who benefits? The people that have wetlands on their property And who loses? Everybody else.
Everybody else.
Right. According to Eric Cortinas, those ordinances include wetland protections and regulations intended to keep eroded soil from being wasted into Mobile Bay. We had a joint staff meeting this morning with planning, and there were 3 specific things that we typically look at that are no longer within our jurisdiction as of today. The city's wetland protection ordinance for anything that is outside of the city limits, Cortinas said. That enforcement ended today. There was also we call it a red clay and staining soils ordinance, where you're not allowed to have certain soils within the proximity of the bay to prevent the pollution. That is no longer valid as of today. Thank you, Chris Elliott. Thank you, buddy.
He was on talk radio today, and he never stopped. See, that's the trick. If you never stop talking, they can't ask you a question.
Eat up the time. Right. Ask him yes or no.
He was talking about all kinds of stuff in North Alabama and prisons and things that are completely out of his comprehension. Back to our little Mo Brooks story, man.
No Mo.
So, turns out the cowboy Mo Brooks had on body armor at Trump's very peaceful January 6th rally. And Raines, you're hearing out there on the mumblings in the corner of the web that there's another rally planned. Do you know when and where?
It looks like, I'm going to put this out there, it looks like there is some traction on a rally September 18th in Washington, D.C., and it's headed up by former President Trump's communications director, what's his name? I can't remember his name right offhand, and I apologize for that. But it's spearheaded with the 4 members of Congress, the so-called G4 representatives, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Louis Gohmert, and Paul Gosar. I think Representative Brooks probably going to steer clear of this one. But it looks like they're going to try to throw one together again for September 18th. And as a good standing member of Backstory Podcast, if they are going to have a big rally on September 18th in Washington, yours truly is going to go and document. So I'll keep abridged of all this. I've got to say, if somebody on that side finally hired somebody with some sense, because they came up that Ben Garrison is a conservative. Well, he's basically a Nazi cartoonist, but he drew a political cartoon reckoning the people that are being held on the January 6th charges as political prisoners, and they titled it Gulag Archipelago. Well,
that's great.
I don't normally do this, but hats off for that one, buddy. That's a pretty damn good little caption, you know.
Well, though.
And, that's
the
not the only
Yung
thing
fans out there will get it.
Well, you can be sure that they will be ready for that in Washington. I can tell you that. That mistake will never be made again.
All right, Raines. Well, if you're going to D.C., I will commit to Saturday, August the 21st at 7 p.m.
Good.
Join Donald Trump in a rally in Coleman, Alabama, for none other than Mo Brooks.
Well, good. I'm glad you committed. I'm not.
You better go.
Yeah.
You better go. You got to go and document it.
I can't. Lightning would hit me. I just couldn't do it.
All right. So I want to talk about a Lagniappe article, some things that we've been covering for a while, and Rob has made his pet project, the trustees at the University of Alabama. We've been talking about that for a while.
Right.
So anyway, Steve Flowers, who is a Raines Russian type or a Josh Moon type, he writes political copy.
Yeah.
Got a job, a no-show job with the University of Alabama Board of Trustees. So anyway, despite claiming he resigned May 10th, the University of Alabama System Office paid political columnist Steve Flowers another $17,785 in June. Records show giving the ghost employee 2 months' worth of salary after he quit. On Monday, a system spokesman said Flowers had received 44 days' worth of annual leave pay in his final check.
Leave pay for a ghost job. How do you do that?
I don't know.
You know, one thing that, the readers, you read this and it just makes you wonder how much, now you know why your schooling is costing so much. And, over the past 3 months, Lagniappe's documented several instances in which the UA system has made unnecessary and often very large payments to existing employment. Some of those involved high-ranking administrators, such as university presidents or system chancellors, and they're being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions when they step down. And all this is fully exposed in Lagniappe, and I guarantee you the instructions at the University of Alabama are, everybody keep your mouth shut, hide under the table, don't say a word. But that's a waste of millions of dollars.
So, former chancellor...
we have no authorities looking into this, even though they are reading it.
So let me tell you how this reads. Former Chancellor Bob Witt, for example, was given $2.3 million payment when he retired in 2015. UA trustee Judge John England said only that the payments were for multiple jobs well done. Witt had been paid $757,000 a year as chancellor and continued to receive his full salary for another 10 months after leaving the job. Since then, he's been paid $244,000 a year as an emeritus professor in UA's Honors College.
My God.
He better be able to teach kids Chinese calculus and stuff. I mean,
it
why
makes
in the world?
It makes you wonder. You're
and
talking
it's
about
all these. And no offense, Paul, but it's all you guys that won't go away. They're good. They're hundreds of good good teachers.
What do you want me to
can
go?
Take that job.
What do you want me to go?
Well, I don't know, but don't retire as the chancellor and take one of the cherry teaching positions.
I'm not going anywhere, so screw you.
Yeah, Paul, give him hell. Don't let him push you around.
All right, so
Really
let's
bad.
talk about the Veterans Recovery Resources. They were awarded $14 million federal grant, and I think it's a great program, Paul.
It's
My
substance
problem
abuse
is,
and mental health.
well, and if it was just veterans, that'd be fine. But it says first responders. Did you see that in the first little blip?
Well, I saw that about first responders, yeah. I was wondering how first responders got worked into a Veterans Recovery Resources program.
They're not veterans, and they're not soldiers, and we shouldn't treat them like that. And of course, if they need mental health, that's something that they could get at work. They have health insurance, right?
Yeah, well, I will say this, especially if any veterans are listening. You have state resources beyond what you may imagine. So if you're a veteran, you can go look at housing, schools, health, and it's available. And you've got a very good program in Alabama. They got a very good veterans hospital in Alabama. The only thing they don't have is that they have a horrible claims and compensation. They have probably one of the worst in the whole United States. And Montgomery, Goat Hill must have rubbed off on them. But if you're a veteran, you can check into these things. That is curious about the first responders. I think maybe I'll even check into that and see why that was added.
I can tell you why the first responders got tagged on there.
All right.
The diagnoses and treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder
Same thing.
is exactly the same for veterans as it is for first responders.
Yeah. And they don't.
Because the symptoms are identical and the treatment plans are identical. That's very likely why that was put in place.
And they're going to have the resources.
Right. It's not in any way to take away from veterans. It's more of an umbrella. It's more of just, hey, we've got these resources here. This is exactly the same that these people are going to need. So let's pull them underneath the umbrella and make those resources available if they need it, because it won't be a drain on the program because it's stuff the program already has in place.
Well, they're building a new 18,000 square foot facility for inpatient detox. And so if you're a veteran and need help, get in touch with them. I got a good story. You guys know I like to shoot my bow and arrow, right?
A warm and fuzzy story.
A warm and fuzzy story. So students from Mobile County were on target during the National Archery in Schools program 2021 Open and Championships. The event, which attracted almost 2,100 archers from 33 states, took place in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and the standout was a young lady named Carrie Daniels, an 8th grader at Phillips Preparatory School in Mobile, claiming top honors in middle school girls division with a score of 294.
That's out of
Not
300.
bad.
That's
Wow.
pretty damn good.
That's out of 300.
She put my eyes out.
Wow.
So another thing in Lagniappe this week, Laughing Matter. Rains, you like this. A couple of comedians got together 3 years ago and decided to do a Mobile Comedy Festival. And since we don't have a comedy club, they decided to do it at different locations, bars and things like that around each night. And it's supposed to start Sunday at the Alabama Music Box. Then Tuesday, it'll go to the Merry Widow for a special evening with Todd Berry. And then Thursday will feature the festival's other national headliner at the Electric Piano, Sean Finnerty.
Yep.
Yeah, and so then you'll like this. Festival goers will get to witness an interesting session on Friday night at the Merry Widow, the stoned versus sober versus drunk comedy show.
Well,
I should have been a part of it.
Well, I could do a little gig on that. I mean, I could get a lot of laughs just talking about politics. As sad as it is, it's still funny.
So do you want to talk about your August 3rd report?
Well, I got more to tell you about that than you think. This was Baldwin County Unfriendly Court, and this was an article that I pulled up from previously and put on trying to get the attention of some people that have been victims of the Baldwin County Family Court. I call it the Unfamily Court. And guess what? I got hacked. Site got hacked. They threw in unrelated comments, about 25 or 30 unrelated comments, and jammed the comment section on it.
You got DOSed?
And it took the geek a whole day to try to get it straight. But I think it's kind of telling that all these articles and everything that we bring up, as soon as I bring up something about the family court, they go after me on the .com site, not wanting it published. So that has inspired the flight straight to Washington, D.C. Now, I can tell you I've gone a lot of museums and everything else up there, but for a good 2-day or 3-day vacation, fly direct out of Mobile, that might be kind of sweet, to tell you the truth.
So everybody loves Ken Burns, right?
I guess.
Oh, come on, man. He's made some of the best movies in the
Absolutely.
world and
Yeah,
gives his content to PBS.
Vietnam War one was great.
The Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
Who the hell makes a movie about a bridge?
Right.
Anyway, Uncivil War filmmaker Ken Burns ridiculed for arguing its most fraught time in history and that Mark Zuckerberg is an enemy of the state who belongs in jail. Ken Burns for president.
Wow.
I mean,
Man.
that is...
He's got my vote.
He knows he can transcend it. He can get away with any place, and so it's just about filthy lucre. That's it. Ha!
Yep.
Wow.
Burned his ass to the ground.
Well,
good for you, Ken Burns.
Can go after him.
All right, so more of my geek stuff. Perfectly preserved cave-lion cub found frozen in Siberia is 28,000 years old.
Wow.
Don't you want to pet that thing?
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at it. I mean, that's just amazing that it can, that you can see the facial structure of it and the hair and all that.
That's what I'm saying.
28,000 years
If it weren't
old?
for all the flies, where the permafrost is melting,
Right.
it'd be cool to go out there and scavenge for a few days, get you a mammoth tusk, a saber-toothed tiger.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the mass manufacture of huge tidal turbines could be one step closer. Nova Innovations volume manufacturing and logistics for tidal energy project. So just imagine if you had a couple of those hanging off our billion-dollar bridge so that every time the tide came in and out, it generated electricity.
They could at least power the lights on the bridge.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah. Well, solar, all of that's come a long, long way in the last 20 years, man.
Yeah, but
Really.
you don't want people crappie fishing around that damn thing.
No, I wouldn't.
All right. And
One of them will probably get jammed up on its first day with somebody's gill net they put out there illegally.
No, somebody drop an anchor and electrocute everybody in the bay. That's what'll happen. So, nighttime hunting in Alabama is new tool in battle to control destructive feral pigs. So,
500 Alabama hunters that have bought licenses.
Yeah, and they do $1 billion worth of damage to crops in Alabama every year, according to USDA.
Wow.
So here's the cool thing: you've been able to hunt coyotes to extinction, and also feral pigs during the daytime. But now you can hunt them at night.
Nighttime scope and all that cool stuff.
Oh yeah, 500
hunters. I hope they spread them out because they all like that. They all like these automatic weapons.
And they all but gave the damn licenses away. They're like $12.50.
Yeah,
couldn't have paid for the paper.
Right.
All right, Paul. What else you got, man?
Well, just want to remind everybody about Lagniappe. Get your Lagniappe at the newsstand. It's the only publication that's handling any major news. They're the only ones willing to do any investigative reporting. But also involved in there in Lagniappe is, like we were talking about, the comedy club, art shows, general information, some advertising that you might want to look at. Very good publication, and like I said, it's better than anything that we have around here, so be sure and check on it. One article we didn't mention in this week was our first try is going to be in space. USA students prepare to launch of satellite they designed from scratch. This is by Trace Brown. Pretty intriguing. These guys got together and they're putting together a satellite that they plan on launching. It's a very, very interesting article. It just goes to show you that if you've got guts to get in there and look at it and try, you can do things like this.
And these guys are students at the University of South Alabama, graduate
right,
students.
Correct.
It's not like Harry and Raines and Paul decided we're going to build a satellite.
No, but still, it's a little bit different than building a glider.
Oh, yeah. Well, somebody had to be first.
That's right.
All right, Raines, what's going on out in Houston? A whole lot of sitting in the garage, bitching about your knee?
Yeah, a whole lot of that, man. We're trying to stay as safe as possible and not contribute to spread. We've got our own messes to deal with over here, and we are dealing with them in true Texas fashion. The governor called a second special session to vote on the Jim Crow 2.0 voter restriction laws here in Texas, and our Texas Democrats are still in Washington, D.C., and will not come to Texas for a quorum. And as I said before, if any of them returns to the state and the governor orders handcuffs put on them, I may go to Austin and never come back. But apart from that, things are pretty good. My physical therapy started this week. Feeling strong because I can take a yoga band and extend it from the bed to top, with my leg. And I got to find a way to get the rest of this color out of my beard. So if you guys got any projects for me to work on, that'd probably help.
So, I heard you say Jim Crow 2.0. Anyway, this week Ron DeSantis came out and blasted Biden about the undocumented COVID people coming across our border, and the fact that he had a problem with somebody showing a photo ID. To vote.
I looked up the immigrants coming across the border, and they estimate 30% have not taken a shot or will not take a shot, which is pretty consistent with exactly what's happening here.
Did you see all the people under the bridge? It looked like the Cuban flotilla back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had all those people under that bridge. And Raines, whatever happened to what the? I thought we were about to have a damn revolution in Cuba. Don't you have some insight on that?
It's still ongoing.
Well, I know there's 5,000 people that have disappeared. Everybody that showed up at those protests are gone, gulagged.
That's it's not entirely accurate. There have been many arrests, but it's not 5,000 people.
I've heard 5 to 8. I was on the low side.
I doubt they could even house them.
That's the problem, is that there's nowhere to put them.
Right.
And no one to guard them. They don't have the resources for a mass jailing of that size. The only country in the Caribbean that's able to do that is the people who occupy Guantanamo Bay, incidentally, part of Cuba. The internet is basically shut down in Cuba, so silence is not a good thing. We're not hearing stuff come out of Cuba because there's no mechanisms for them to broadcast anything other than government-approved messages. There is an initiative taking place right now to arm the Cuban people with communications equipment covertly, and that's going on right now under the guise of many different organizations in the United States, not to exclude or not to include the alphabet soup in the greater Bethesda, Maryland area.
Right.
You can't have a
not that they would topple
a
communist regime.
As the saying goes, you can't have a clear front without a foggy bottom. So it's definitely a lot of that going on down there right now. But no news is not good news, but we will see news out of Cuba soon. So
$1 trillion spending package is being whittled on right now, supposedly for infrastructure. We'll see how much pork ends up in that. And next time, I want to talk about the new I-41 corridor. I believe it goes through Jackson, Mississippi, straight across to Montgomery, and on across to Atlanta. Y'all familiar with that project? Yep. You know, no. We can't build a $2 billion bridge on an existing arterial necessary interstate highway, but we're going to build a completely new interstate. I wonder who owns all that land.
Be like the mega site.
All right.
I got one other thing.
Go for it.
All right. Those of you that are interested in healthy living, a healthy planet, there's a publication put out free. You'll find it around town. I do not work for these people. This is just a recommendation. It's called Natural Awakenings. It's got a girl on a paddleboard, which really looks good. But it's health. It's about healthy living and a lot of CBD products and things that are alternative medicine. So I would encourage you, if you want to check that out, to look for it. Natural Awakenings.
Work as well as a Pfizer shot.